Good morning, Fearless fam! This video is all about a question I've gotten many times on social media, which is, how did you get birth control when you were in China? So you're going to China, you're from America or Canada or a Western country, and you're like, whoa, like my birth control prescription is super easy, but my insurance is telling me I can only take X amount of pills with me to China, and then I'm gonna have to figure it out in China. So just to give you a quick backstory, I came to China with about 7 months of birth control, I think, but I was gonna be there for 10 months total. And speaking of what I packed for China, if you want a really comprehensive packing list for a year away in China, open up the description box down below and check out the link down there because I have a really thorough packing list that's going to help you out a lot. But anyways, back to birth control. So originally my insurance was only going to give me, I think it was like 3 months of birth control. So I kept calling them and bothering them, and eventually they gave me 7 months of birth control. Now, if you are getting birth control for free back home, I would highly recommend trying to get as much as your insurance will give you. The major question is, how do I get birth control when I'm living in China? And keep in mind, I managed to do it by myself and I don't even speak Chinese. This is very simple. You need to find a pharmacy. You need to walk in, ask for birth control, pick out how much you want off the shelf, and buy it. And that's it. What I'm trying to say is it's over the counter. So it's actually very easy to obtain birth control in China. And as far as I understood, there was really no limits on how much I could buy in one go. The only thing that was like slightly complicated is that there's a lot of options for birth control in China that are used actually very commonly. So things in China are a little bit more serious when it comes to preventing childbirth because of the one-child policy, which is now a two-child policy. So condoms are actually really easy to find in China, like right there at every cashier, like all the time. There's a shitload of options when it comes to condoms. But this video is mostly about the birth control pill because that's what I was taking. The other type of birth control besides the pill that I found to be very common in China, basically the equivalent of Plan B. That pill is very easy to find in China, and actually the first time I went into a Chinese pharmacy asking for birth control, that was the first option that they handed to me. So I thought that was really interesting. I think the Chinese government probably realized the importance of having a lot of options available over the counter if they want to actually enforce their two-child policy. So before I went to China, I was using some kind of generic brand called Avion, I think. I don't know. It was like a low hormone birth control pill. If you want to take the normal, I think it's like the 28-day pill or something like that, where you would have basically a pack with 3 weeks of active pills and 1 week of like the placebo pills. Sometimes they have an iron supplement in them. That is very easy to find in China. And the number one brand, actually the only brand that I ever saw at pharmacies in Beijing, in the neighborhood I lived in, was Yasmine, which is really funny because Yasmine is actually really common in the US, and now it's becoming like the number one preference in China. I was actually kind of afraid of switching from my birth control pill to Yasmine, and I didn't have any problems. I switched from one brand over to the other, and I actually emailed my doctor because I was worried because the hormone levels in Yasmine were different than the hormone levels in my previous birth control, and I had never switched brands before. So I was actually kind of worried about switching over, and I didn't quite know how to do it, but my doctor emailed me and reassured me, said everything's going to be fine. Chinese pharmacies are usually marked out front with a green cross symbol. In the US, this is associated with medical marijuana, but it is not medical marijuana, it is a Chinese pharmacy. There's usually either one half or one section of the store, sometimes it's just one room, dedicated to Chinese medicine. And the majority of the store is based on Western medicine. So to ask for birth control at your local pharmacy, my best recommendation for you is to pull out your pleco app. So you're going to want to download pleco. It's totally free. I'll link it down below. Type in the word birth control, walk up to the pharmacy, show the people at the store, like pointing to it, and you'll find it. So basically this is the backup plan. If you don't speak Chinese, you're in the same position as me. I would look up the word on my phone. I would show it to them. I'd say, "有这个吗?" which means basically, do you have this? I believe the word for birth control is bi, yuen, yao, all fourth tone. I believe that's how you say it. Backup plan. Say the pharmacist has no idea what you're talking about, is not willing to look at your phone, doesn't want to deal with a language barrier, which would be very unusual in China, but say that happens and you're worried about this happening. Wander around the pharmacy and you're going to see packages that look like what you would expect birth control packages and Plan B packages to look like. Probably going to be near like the pregnancy tests and other similar things that you would see. Condoms, they're going to have all that kind of stuff in one little area. So when you see that, look for the words Yasmine, Y-A-S-M-I-N. And I'll show you a picture of the packaging right here so you can see what the packaging looks like so you know what you're looking for. But Yasmine is your best bet for a birth control option that is basically Westerner approved. After the first time I went in and found Yasmine, I bought it, I tested it out, it worked for me, I wanted to go back and buy more. The second time I went in there, instead of showing them the words birth control on my phone, I actually saved the Yasmine box. So I just brought in that empty box with me and I showed them. I think I said like, Yao Sanga, I want 3 of this thing. You can literally bring in the box, point to it, hold up a number in your hand, 3, I want 3 of them, and they'll help you and show you where they are. You literally just pull them off the counter yourself, walk up to the cashier, pay for it. I'm not sure if they do WeChat Pay. I would bring cash with you when you do it. But yeah, it was pretty straightforward, super easy. So before I went looking for birth control in China, I did rely heavily on a blog post, a random blog post that I found online from a website called elizabethinchina.com. I'll link that down below too because she goes into a lot more detail about the different brand options. There's 4 primary brands that she talks about: Marvelon, Mercilon, Minulet, I don't know if it's French, and Yasmine. Unfortunately, Yasmine was literally the only option when I was in Beijing. She actually has updated this blog post many times and she kind of says the same thing. So she started noticing that over time while she was in China, a lot of the pharmacies were switching out of all their other birth control pills and just having Yasmine in stock and that's it. So there must be some sort of pharmacy brand deal-ish type thing happening. I don't know what it is, but unfortunately Yasmine is the most expensive option at about 130 renminbi, which is not cheap. That's like $19. So to go from paying $0 to paying about $20 a month for birth control was kind of annoying, but it was so much easier than having to deal with a pharmacy or a doctor or anything like that. So in the end, I was just very thankful to have my birth control pills in hand. It's a long story, but my health insurance was all messed up back in the US. So I knew when I came home getting birth control was going to be difficult. So I actually successfully brought all my birth control, I think I brought 3 or 4 packs with me from China back to the US, and there were no problems at border control. So one of my biggest questions was similar to the question I just had about VPN. Actually, if you haven't seen that video yet, it's linked up above. It's all about using VPN in China, helping you to feel more comfortable doing so, and my recommendation for the best VPN service. But similarly to VPN, my main question about Chinese pharmacies and buying birth control in China was, is it weird or awkward? I mean, is it sketchy? I'm like, what if I'm getting pills that aren't even birth control? I'm putting all my literal eggs in this metaphorical basket and relying on this pill that I'm not quite sure is going to work for me. To be honest, just like with a lot of things in China, I just gave it a shot and it ended up working out, so that's good. I would just recommend either walking or biking or keeping your eyes open around your neighborhood in China for those little green cross symbols and just kind of see which one seems to be the most popular, and I would just end up going to that one if I were you. There was one that was kind of in a back alleyway tucked away. It's not that weird. When you say back alleyway in America, you're like, ooh, sketchy, but in China it's like, oh yeah, it's next to a dumpling shop. So for Yasmine at that back alley shop, I think I paid $160 a pack. So I actually was ending up paying more. And then when I went to this other pharmacy, literally right next to the other one, you had to just go around the street a little bit, and it was on a main road, but it was always really busy. That place had Yasmine for a lot cheaper. It was $125 or something. So it's not a huge difference, but it is a little bit of a difference, and that's always nice. Overall, I felt really comfortable going into the pharmacy by myself without any Mandarin skills, which is kind of crazy. It was always a little awkward, and I have anxiety, so I always get a little nervous and I tend to sweat and just feel generally nervous when I'm out in public in a weird situation like that. But the people were really nice. They want to help you. So I hope this made you feel a lot more comfortable about finding birth control in China and answered some of your questions. If you have any questions for me about obtaining birth control in China, the comment section is a great place to put that question, because I can help you and then other people coming to this video can help as well, and we can all kind of come together. Ladies in China! And if you are new to my channel, welcome to the Fearless fam. Be sure to hit that little subscribe button down below. I put up videos just about every day, and a lot of them are helpful informational content about China and about traveling with anxiety, just like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow for Travel Talk Tuesday. Okay, bye!